99% of the people that I'm passing in traffic will never, ever become financially independent. Your brain has the power to heal itself. Your brain has the power to frame it the way you choose to frame it. How about you do the hard work? Stop using it as an excuse, because it is an excuse. Welcome back to Free at Last. We've got another opportunity for you and I to be alone together, and I'm grateful for that. I've been thinking a lot about this subject, but becoming financially independent requires a lot of mindset shifts. It requires us to do things perhaps we've never done before. Let's face it, as I'm driving around in my car, I'm acutely aware of the idea that 99% of the people that I'm passing in traffic will never, ever become financially independent. And that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're in a job. They're actually not in a position to earn commissions, which is a requirement to actually become financially independent. You've got to be in a position to have an unlimited stream of income. So being in a position to earn commissions and then ultimately lead a team or a company where commissions are occurring, that's where financial independence occurs quickest. Of course, you could be a musician or you could invent something, and of course, those are really rare, but those are other ways to do it. But I've been thinking about something beyond mindset that I know many of us, including myself, become plagued with. And I want to kind of have this more heavy discussion with you today because I think it's important. A lot of us suffer from self-belief, self-esteem, the lack of belief in yourself. You struggle maybe to believe that you're capable. You may have found yourself through good habits and through discipline. You may have found yourself in the right rooms for the first time in your life. You found yourself surrounded by the right people. The reference group that you're supposed to be with, you're there, but maybe you feel like an imposter. You feel like you don't belong. And there's some reasons for that. It's usually got something to do with our past. It's usually got something to do with heavy things that have occurred in our past. And I want to just walk you through something that it's an exercise that I think you need to do. I've had to do it. And I also want you to know that there are some things so heavy that you need to actually have a therapist walk you through them. But I'm going to give you an exercise that you don't need a therapist for. You can actually do this. One of the great beautiful powers that we each have inside of us is the ability to frame the meaning in our life to things that have happened to us. We all have the power to frame and then reframe the things that have occurred to us. I'm thinking about the things that have occurred to you where you may have been a victim. You may have been victimized. Maybe you were a child. Maybe it was in one of your marriages. Maybe it was maybe one of the early marriages where things weren't fair. Maybe you were even beaten. Maybe as a child, I'm just going through some of these scenarios that are common. Maybe as a child you were beaten. Maybe you were abused either emotionally or sexually in an unfair way. Well, let's face it. You are a victim in those circumstances. The question isn't whether or not you're a victim. The question is, what will we do now that that's happened? That's the question. We have only two choices. Choice number one is to take that tragedy where you are truly a victim and carry it with you for the rest of your life, or reframe it. Reframe it. And I'll give you an example. Let's just say you were a child that was unfairly taken advantage of. And you can think of all the ways where that occurs, and you yourself are probably thinking of the ways that may have happened to you. You have two choices. You can take that with you into adulthood and have you feel less than, have you feel like you're not worthy, have you feel like I'm not able to perform at the highest level because these things happened to you. Or the choice that I'm going to encourage you to make, you can go back now and do the hard work and reframe that event. And what I mean by reframe it is, I want you to go back and look at that event and say, you know what? Of course that occurred, but what I got from it is that's the day I learned how to be a great dad instead of a terrible dad. That's the day I learned what it's like to be an incredible human being. That was the day I gave birth to my desire to be a better person. It was on that day that I learned the lesson permanently about what it's like to be a bad parent. Therefore, I will be a great parent. See, you and I control the label maker in our life. Our brain is full of file cabinets, and it's full of those little manila folders and all these little memories that have occurred in our life, both positive and negative. Some were victim files. Some were things that were beautiful that occurred to us. But most of the things that hold us back are when that file folder was placed in the file cabinet of our mind, it's where we were hurt. It's where we were, in fact, a victim. And society will tell you that because you're a victim, you're excused from certain things, that you shouldn't feel worthy, you shouldn't feel capable, you shouldn't measure up, you should have low self-esteem because of those things. And so you need to spend years and years and years with a therapist trying to work these things out, writing letters to those who abused you, perhaps confronting those who abused you, and having these hard meetings. Well, I just want you to know, I don't believe that's necessary. What I believe is necessary is you need to get yourself on the side of a mountain, get yourself beside a lake. You need to get yourself alone. You need to go back through those chapters of your life where you opened a file and you labeled it, I was abused. And you labeled it, I am a victim. And you labeled it, I was sexually assaulted. And you labeled it, I was raped. And you labeled it, my dad beat me. And you labeled it, my wife stole my money. And you labeled it, whatever you labeled it. You and I assigned meaning to these horrific things that occurred to us. And I'm telling you, you can reassign the meaning. You can go back and reframe it. I'm not talking about make-believe. The brain actually will reward you for going back and reframing it. And hey, there's science behind this. Dr. Andrew Huberman, just recently on one of his podcasts, outlined a study that was just done. It's called the Milkshake study, where I think it was 600 people in the test were given 2 different types of milkshakes. And they were told these are 2 different types of milkshakes. This group, this control group, is getting the high-calorie milkshake that should make you feel satisfied like you're having a dessert. This group, this control group, another 300, was given a milkshake that's for dietary purposes. It's actually nutritious. It's got a lot of protein in it. It's got fiber in it. It's got all the things that should make you healthy. Well, what they learned from this study, because both the milkshake groups had the same exact milkshake. They were given the exact same milkshake, but they were told it was something different. So their brain began to process chemicals as though they were consuming a different milkshake for the purposes they were told it was. Well, the group that had the high-calorie milkshake burned more fat during the next 30 days. Their metabolism was higher. They actually lost weight, that control group. The group that thought they were eating a dietary beneficial milkshake actually either stayed the same or gained weight because they thought the milkshake was doing the work. Where those that had the savory, sweet milkshake like a dessert, they knew they had to overcome the consumption of that, and so their bodies went to work doing that. So with the message from this, the study revealed clearly the milkshake was the same. Your brain has the power to heal itself. Your brain has the power to frame it the way you choose to frame it. You can either wait for somebody else to come in and tell you what kind of milkshake you're putting in your body, or you can go do the hard work now and go back through and say, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you an experience I had that I had to go back and reframe. My father left our home when I was 8 years old. My brother was 5 and I was 8. It was just the 2 of us and my mom and dad. My dad hires a babysitter that we were familiar with, takes us to the mall to see a movie. He tells the babysitter, let the kids sit through a movie, here's some money for snacks, and then call me when you come out of the movie. And he leaves. Well, what I didn't know is my dad was back at our family home emptying the furniture, basically emptying the house because he was leaving. I didn't know that. I thought we were at a movie. Well, we returned with the babysitter many hours later. My dad picks us up, takes us back. He sits my little brother and I down on our bunk bed. And he says, guys, I want you to know that I'm leaving. And your mom and dad are getting divorced. And when I walk out that door, I just want you to know that I'm not coming back. I don't live here anymore, and I'm leaving. Okay? So on that day, I wasn't beaten. I didn't have some of these horrific things that we've talked about earlier in the podcast happen to me. But what did happen to me on that day was naturally I felt abandoned. I felt abandoned by my role model. I felt abandoned by my dad who I looked up to. I felt unwanted. I felt like, hey, wait a minute. Whatever life he's now pursuing must be more valuable than the one here with me in it. And so that has a way to shape a kid's mind, okay? I was 8 years old. I didn't know how to process that when it happened. And so as I got older, I look back, I realized that some things occurred inside me on that day that created an emotional wall that was causing me harm, okay? The wall that got built up that day from that event and got stronger over time, that wall was causing me harm. It was preventing me from letting people in that needed to get into my life. It was preventing me from looking up to men. It was preventing me from allowing mentors in my life to shape my life. It was preventing me from many things that would help me succeed one day and become financially independent. And so I had to go do the hard work. Had to go back and revisit that moment. And I did it alone. I did it in my mind. Specifically, I actually did it on a golf course. I went to a place that I was comfortable, and I began to think through, alone, not golfing, but on the golf course, thinking it was like it's sundown when nobody's golfing, but I'm out there. And I'm thinking through specifically, how did I frame that event? What label did I put on that file folder and then put away in my head? And I went ahead and pulled that file folder back out. And I opened it up. And I said to myself, what can I pick up from this that's positive? Because I'm leaving the rest behind. I'm leaving the rest behind. I'm leaving the abandonment behind. I'm leaving the your life is going to be better because you're not with us behind. I'm not taking that with me forward. I'm relabeling the file folder now as an adult looking back. And so I decided that file folder would be the day I know how to become a better dad. It's the day I learned what not to do to a kid. It's the day I learned how you treat a woman. And you don't abandon the wife and leave the kids there to explain to mom what the hell happened. You just don't do that. So on that day, I learned a lot of good things. I learned positive things. I also learned to be the man of the house. On that day, I learned to be a protector. On that day, I learned what it means to protect a little brother and a mother. I was 8, but that's the day I learned it. And I can look back and realize that from that day forward, I grew up. That's the day I matured. That's the day I became maybe more grown up than an 8-year-old should be. That's the day my life got more serious, and I can be proud of that. So I took that file folder and relabeled it real positive things. I reframed it, and then I reshuffled it back in my mind. And now I can tell you that story with pride, what I picked up from that. We all, and I have others that I'm not going to burden you with, but I had to go back and revisit those files too. Had to go back and do the hard work, open it up. And I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying. I want you to understand that to ultimately be free, to be liberated, to not live in the past, to stop carrying the bag of rocks around with you, to stop having your self-esteem so impacted when you're in the moment that you need to be in. You're with the right people. You've got the right habits. You found yourself in the right group. You're the authentic person you want to be the champion, to attract all the great things in your life that need to happen for you to win. It's happening, but you continue perhaps to sabotage your success because of things that went on in your past that were beyond your control. I'm telling you, just like with the milkshakes, you control the label maker on that file folder. You control the images you cast into that folder. You actually control what you take from that event. You control, is it a positive or a negative? Our whole life comes down to the meaning we assign the events in our life. I want you to assign positive meanings to the things that have occurred to you. I know it sounds dismissive. So what? So what? So what if success requires you to be dismissive of things that hurt you? So what? How is it working the other way? Is it working for you to carry it all around and be able to drag it up every now and then? Is it just a convenient thing for you to talk about all the things that went wrong to you? wrong for you? Is that just the convenient mechanism you're using to excuse why success is not occurring? How about we stop doing that? How about you do the hard work? Go back. Stop using it as an excuse, because it is an excuse. You control the label maker. You control the framing. You get to decide the meaning you give the events in your life. And I'm just challenging you to give it new meaning. Go back, fix them all. Take the time necessary to fix them all. You'll be liberated. You'll be free at last. That's my challenge for you. I'm your host. I'm James Catledge. Thank you for trusting me with this sensitive subject. I just want you to win. Thanks for being here.